everybody. How are you? We are back. It's Tuesday, the 11th. Gosh, did I say 11th? Yeah, it is the 11th of August. And if you don't know now, you know it is Fact of the Matter with Wole Awolola. And I see some people already joining in. I really appreciate you guys tuning in like this. It's awesome. It's great. Like I said, Tuesdays are not the same again because it's become what would I call it? It's the Facts of the Matter Tuesday. What do you say? Fact of the Matter Tuesday. So Tuesdays are now Fact of the Matter days. Hello, Constance. Thank you so much. Really, I'm loving all your pictures on Instagram. You're looking all funky and all that. I reckon something is coming. Something is coming. You're gonna drop something real soon. So I'm one of your fans already. So let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. Let me know when it comes out. Whatever I can do, if it's to carry your bag and help you protocol, whatever. And my big sister Shola, has also joined us. Wow. I don't know what's going on. This is great. Our guest for today is already on. But before I bring her on, I want to say a little something about her. She, one of the, I can put the humblest people that I've met. Pastors that she's ready, willing to relate with, associate with people, have a discussion. She doesn't say, "Well, I'm a pastor. You are something else." So there's a gap between us. No. We met. If I'm correct, actually, I'm gonna bring her on, and then we'll talk about how we met and everything else. So, if you haven't met her, if you do not know about, you're about to encounter the ministry of Pastor Floris Lymon. Okay. And there she is, Pastor. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, go. We eventually got this right. You are on Fact of the Matter.
Thank you.
How was your day so far? Hot day, cool day? Was it too cold for you? Was it too warm? What was
I
I've
can't
actually got
complain.
I've actually got a fan blowing on me right now. Otherwise,
Oh, I wish I
it
had
will be
one.
like I've just had baptism of fire again by the time we're done here. So I've had to put the fan on otherwise. But like you said, we mustn't complain. We give God thanks for the sunshine. We give God thanks for heat. Those of us that lived in Africa, we know what it was like or what it is like to have lived over there. So it's only bringing back memories for us. So no complaints. We can dry as many laundry as possible outside without wasting the sun. So there's
Yes.
always, yeah, a good user. Pastor Flores, welcome to Facts of the Matter with Wole Awolola. I am super excited because I know you have a lot to share with us, and that will help a
Thank
lot
you
for
for having me on. God bless you. Good evening,
it's my
everyone.
pleasure, actually, my pleasure. But let me start by confirming, right? I think if I'm correct, the first time we met, or maybe we talked actually, maybe you had seen me and all that, was a few years ago when Tammy T, who was my guest about a couple of weeks ago on this show, when he had one of his heart in worship seminar, and you were there, and it was
Yeah.
afterwards that we were all just, I think, you know, exchanging pleasantries, and you came and you said, "Hello, brother Wole." Was am I right in saying that was the first time we met, or you had we met before then? I'm not sure.
Actually, I have known you way
Okay.
before then. I've known you as being one of the worship leaders in KICC because I have so many friends, sisters that and some family members that do go to KICC, and I've followed KICC for many years. So I
Hey,
actually know quite a lot of people. Yes.
okay, all right, cool,
But that
cool.
was the first time we had like a form of interaction when we
Former
met at Brother
conversation. Okay,
Timothy's. Yeah.
all right, cool. So my memory serves me well. Then I'm quite good. We have loads of wonderful people that have joined us. Sister Shola Victor Sajowa, she's joined us already.
Yeah.
My wonderful sisters, Constance. Jones, she's another gospel artist, an amazing worship leader. All these people are excited to hear what you've got to say to us. So, and my brother, well, I'll call him Total Worship for now. He's waving at us. Wait, Togo, well, Sister Shall saying hello. And um,
bless you, Minister Sajua, bless you, man of
yeah,
God.
and there's a pastor of the branch of KICC in Bristol, Pastor Tommy. His wife has just joined us right here. So listen, no pressure.
I'm scared.
No, no, no. They are here to cheer us on. So let's get into it. So how do I introduce you? I know you're Pastor Floris, but do you also go by Pastor Grace?
Pastor
So is
Chris.
that a middle name? Because I've not seen that in your list of names. Why Grace?
That's my spiritual name. I got that name about 4 or 5 years ago. It's not
Okay,
official yet on paper, but
okay,
I think it was pastor started calling me that name. My father-in-law started calling me that
okay.
name.
Ah,
Um, I think it's as a result of the amount of obstacles that they might have
like,
seen me jump,
wow,
or let me say cross,
wow,
and just by the grace of God to see me out. So that's how I inherited the name. And
wow.
I just took it on board. I'm like, at the end of the day, really, it's by grace. It's by grace every step of the way in my
Oh,
life.
yeah,
It's in ministry and in everything, it's be by the grace of God.
by the
So
grace of God.
that's how the name came
Amen.
about.
Ah, I can identify with that, or I can understand that. But in the Bible, in Bible time, and in the Jewish culture, names were not just plucked from the air and said, we've got to give this child a name. They speak into the destiny of that child by the name they give. They either said this child will be this, or maybe a situation was going on and they say this child, So I can understand that, and I receive it with you that it's a prophetic declaration over you that the grace of God will exude and operate in
Amen.
your life. All right. So
Amen.
many of us don't know much about you, and you're about to tell us what is your childhood background like? What was your childhood like? I'm talking about your family settings. Are you an only child? Do you have siblings, or like 12 or 13 or 15 siblings? Uh, what was your schooling like and all that? Can you let us in on that?
Okay, so I am originally from Sierra Leone, West Africa, not
Okay.
actually far from Nigeria. So,
No, no,
we're all
just across the
neighbors.
road.
Yes, so I am the firstborn. We're five in my family. Mom has passed
Okay.
on, but my dad is still alive by the grace of God. And I I went through every stage in Sierra Leone. I went to school in Sierra Leone, from school to sixth form to university. Everything was
Right.
in Sierra Leone. So
Okay.
as soon as I finished uni, I got married. Then that's how I
Oh,
came.
wow.
That's how I came to London.
Oh, I see. So, what was your husband living in London at the time?
Yes, my late
Uh,
husband was living in London then. Yes, so he used to go
so,
on holidays.
and he saw you during his holidays, right? Right, very wise man. I see, I see, I see. Because I was gonna like, okay, how did you? Okay,
How
okay,
did
we
the
get
two
that now.
connect?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You say you're the first of five children,
Yes.
right? Was there a weight of responsibility there? Because I'm the second of five children, but being the first son is almost like the weight of the family was almost, well, I won't say literally on my shoulder, but the expectation was like, you are going to step into your father's shoes, as it were. But was that the
Oh
same?
yes. Sure, absolutely. When I was growing up, the pressure was a lot as the firstborn. I know my
Wow.
parents celebrated me. I was told that
Yeah.
they will celebrate every birthday, they will do everything, and my dad just carried me like egg. You know how you carry
Wow.
an egg and you want to protect it. Even when I was in university, if this man came and he never found me on campus, and he won't tell me that he was coming, he would just pop up. And if I'm not on campus, maybe I just went downtown to do something. By the time I come back, my mates will be like, "Hey, your father came today. This man has
Oh,
been complaining. Where did Floris go? Where did
oh my
Floris go?"
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Everything they were strict. you know, and in those days we have to hide. You having a boyfriend, you have to hide. You know, you don't dare. Even when my late
Yeah.
husband came and he didn't
Yeah.
want to do any hiding, I was in sixth form then, and he just gathered all his uncles. His uncle was a chief justice of Sierra Leone. My dad was a military man. My dad did
Oh,
not want to look at anybody's face. My dad
whoa.
said to them, look, don't even think about marriage until the next 8 years. And what's so powerful? Events happened. Events
years.
happened. And when we counted, exactly 8 years before
Wow.
we could get married.
Wow. Good Lord
Yeah.
have mercy. Wow. Your dad was a military man. So did you
Oh,
receive some military discipline?
oh, I did belt. I had a lot of that with a belt. I'm not even ashamed to say. But it has all helped me to become what I am today. You know, back in those days, our parents were strict. They loved us. They provided everything for us, but the discipline. And my mom was a teacher. My father is soldier. So just imagine. And as the
Oh my
firstborn,
goodness.
you have to meet up with
Okay.
expectations.
I don't know what kind of combination that was, but a soldier and a teacher. Lord Jesus. In fact, you know what? I've just heard comments here. Sister Shola said, wow. And then a brother of mine, Timmy T, you know Timmy T, he said back then, courting a military man's daughter proves you have liver.
Yes, I'm telling you, that's why my husband did not want to hide. He
Wow.
went straight away with respect, and my father, he was not having it. My
Wow.
dad was not having it at all. And
Lord have
since then, he
mercy.
monitored my every movement.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay, I don't even want to imagine. Oh my goodness. So, okay, all right. So, have you always been a Christian, or was there a turning point for you? Was there a road to Damascus Road experience? What was it?
I was born in a Catholic family. My
Okay.
father was a Muslim. He converted because my mom was a Catholic. So my dad was one of those men that just followed easily, and ever since he never turned his back. But we had a
Oh,
very good foundation.
okay.
Now, it's amazing. You know, we normally say some people just come and they give their lives to Christ just like that. Maybe some people came because they wanted a husband, others came because they wanted a wife, some people came for deliverance or healing,
Right.
or maybe for
Right.
other ones. Well,
Yeah.
how the Lord orchestrated my own was very strange. Right. So I did mention earlier on, you know, I'm just going to be transparent. Let's have some
Please
laugh here.
bring it on. Yes,
So
absolutely.
somebody made a statement that don't dare date a military man's daughter. So what happened? I was young then. I think I was still on my way to sixth form, and I started seeing a very young military officer. But
Okay.
this was purely under hiding. And the guy happened to be my mom's student. Since my mom has taught, we were living in a military barracks. So my mom has taught almost everybody growing up
Oh
in
my
that community.
goodness. Gosh.
And the guy and the guy was and the guy, we all used to go to church together. He was an altar boy. I don't know if you've had people that say altar boys in the Catholic
Yeah,
Church.
yes,
I
yeah,
was a lay
yes.
leader. I was in the choir. This young
Wow.
gentleman, he's late now. He was an altar boy. My husband too
Okay.
was in that same church. My husband to be, but
Wow.
you know, we didn't know how God was going to orchestrate that part. So what happened? This guy
Right.
was very young, but he was in the military, and
Okay.
there was a coup. There was a military coup in 1992 in my country. If people are from Sierra Leone, if you go back and Google
They'll
it,
know.
you will see all the names of those people. And that handsome gentleman was my boyfriend, but my nobody knew about it. My parents,
Hey.
because that was fire, you know. So
Pastor
what happened?
Floris, you kept it a secret. Okay,
But
so pastors do
people
things like this.
people in the community knew about it. You know, I was saying one of my sisters go to KICC. I was saying to her
Okay.
today, you know, when we were in boarding school, if you ask me for money, I will say
Yeah.
to them, I don't have, but trust me, I had money I will keep for that guy because
Wow.
he didn't have much, and
Okay.
we had everything. I used to
Everything.
steal even to bless my friends that were impoverished. You know,
Wow.
my parents would still give me to give, but
To
just to
give.
reach out to people.
Yeah.
So what happened? This guy was part of the people that came and formed this military coup. So that's how my life turned upside down.
Wow.
Eventually, I was very innocent. And eventually, people were coming, you know, us women were coming from left, right, and center. That, oh, now all of a sudden, the guy is their boyfriend, the guy is their everything. So, me, I know where I came from. There's a parable in my language. If you don't know where you're going, you need to know where you came from. So I
Yeah.
was just in the corner crying and crying. My auntie said to me, just, you know, in my language, they say bia. I think in Yoruba they will say pele, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I coped. But in the end, my parents found out. And when they found out, they were very, very upset. They
Wow.
were very, so as a result, they moved me from my church. They moved me from the church. And my mother said, you need to go to Assemblies of God, where my mother's sister and her
Okay.
husband were
Your aunt.
serving.
Okay.
So that's how I started going to Assemblies of God.
Assemblies of God. Right.
And in 97, I gave my life to Christ. And I gave my life first in my family, then my sister followed suit.
The
So
system.
that's how I came to know the Lord, by
Wow.
moving from that place with all the, it was too much. The press, everybody was involved. I will go to church and I can't turn back. I can't do anything. I have to stay still because the attention, and people were
The
getting
attention.
distracted.
Unwanted attention. Wow.
So my parents said, you know what, let's just get this girl out of here. So that's
Wow.
how I moved in there to
Wow.
Assemblies of God, and I finally gave my life to Christ because I was broken and I was
Interesting.
young. So I finally
Wow.
gave my life to Christ in
And that's
1997.
wow. You know,
So
it's
that's how my
interesting
born
how
againism came.
it's interesting how God channels our way to come to where He wants us to be. You know, He uses circumstances, He uses opportunities, He uses situations, and to bring us to a place where He has ordained for us. And that's an
Sure.
interesting one because that's from another perspective that I don't think I've ever heard that perspective before, but maybe the few other people can relate with that. But then, so you after you completed your university, you said your husband came over, you got married, and then you relocated to the UK.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, you know,
Was that I don't know about you, but was it a culture well, for me it was a culture shock. It was different to what I had always known all my life when I came. Or did you just, you know, oh wow, my friend, but did you just
it
manage
was
to
it was it
align with?
was a culture shock for me. Um,
Okay.
Number one, I must confess, when I was back home, I
Yeah.
even if something is pricking my jaw, I will take medicine. I will take painkillers. You have a little cold, it's antibiotics here and there. Everything. I had my small pharmacy. So the first thing that shocked me, the first thing that
So,
shocked me coming into UK, you have headache. They can't even give you a paracetamol.
oh
You
my.
know, they tell you drink water and stuff, and just the process. We used to have injections when you have malaria and stuff. Obviously there's no malaria here,
No, none
and
here.
it just got me to the point that, wow, so this is how we were abusing medications back home,
Maybe.
just because you can access it anyhow. As long as you have the money, you
Yeah.
can access medication. So that was the first thing. My system was clean
Oh my
of
goodness.
medication. Then number two, I could not cope with the tightness of the homes, with the houses. Plus, we had a flat. My husband was a young single man then.
Oh my God.
I just could not
Oh
cope. I was
my,
struggling so much. I said, Lord, I've come to
oh my
suffer.
God.
See my compound in Africa. You know,
You came from a palace to a box room.
it's very humbling. It is very humbling. So when people used to
Oh
say
yes.
level ground and stuff, so I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I really learned a lot. I was
Mm.
humbled. Not that I was proud, like, but it's like, you know, we had everything back home by the grace of God. We were well
Yeah.
provided for by our family.
Yeah.
So coming here, I didn't even want
Yes.
to come because we had
Right.
finished. All my friends were having fantastic jobs, and because of marriage, you know, the compromise, I have to come. My husband said, you know what, you have to come. We cannot be separated. So that's how I came. And it took a while for me to actually settle down. But by the grace of God, thank God for skills. And I waited for a while for my papers to settle. And
Right.
whilst I was waiting, I was using my skills. I was doing hair. I was cooking. I
Okay.
was
All
doing
right.
childminding. And God just
That's
opened so
amazing.
many doors through for me those days when I was using my skills. Funnily, I used to do here when I was back home, and my mom will beat me because I failed in year 8.
Oh my
I
goodness.
failed. So my mom said, if I catch you doing
Do it.
anybody's hair again, I will beat
Oh
the
my
hell out of you.
goodness.
So,
Oh
but
wow.
that
I
was
look
what
at that now.
sustained me in the early
Wow.
years of my life in this country. And I really thank God. I still have some of my clients, even though I don't do here anymore. I still have
Interesting.
some clients that
Interesting.
never left me.
Wow. That's interesting. Interesting. You know what? I reckon if I pose that question to a lot of people who have been watching right now, if I've got a couple of people who have joined, there's a Dr. Suji from my choir, church choir. There's a wonderful brother of mine, brother David Adego, and I've got Toby Loba, my one and only Ulua Toby Loba, and then my very
Bless you,
own
everyone.
blood
Bless you, Sister
sister,
Toby.
my blood sister Fume. She's just joined. She's my second to the last in our family. She's just joined. So thank you guys. Now, if I was to pose that question to everybody, like a culture shock when they came to the country, it would be like, uh, there were things that we were used to back home where we thought that was the norm for every continent of the world. And then only to find out that not so. I mean, when I came in along the line, I started working at a McDonald's restaurant. And I didn't get it that over here, the expression to how to greet a friend is to say, hello, mate, something like that. So this young 10-year-old boy came to buy something. Me, 18 years, I was 8 years old. That he went, oh, thanks, mate. I'm saying, me, your mate in this world. Chai, Jehovah God. Oh, I was going to jump the counter and give him a left hand of fellowship, but then, then I thought, but the change is quite different. But like you said, they say London is a leveler. You come
Oh,
and you meet everybody. It's a melting pot. And I think it has a lot of good things in it that we get to learn from each other. You get to see a
yeah.
different side of the world so that you don't think your culture alone is the culture or the way
Culture.
you do things is the only way things are done. But
Sure.
it's all good. So much for London. So much for um you've written a book which we're gonna dig into right now. Pastor Floris has written a book. Don't judge me. I'm a single parent. That one right there. I first of all, I love the cover. That's a brilliant cover right there. Absolutely. And the back is right there. We're gonna give you information to buy this or how to get a copy for yourself. But we're gonna speak a little about this. It says, "Don't judge me. I'm a single parent." What motivated you to do this, to write this book? Um, please let us know what got you to do it.
Wow. Okay. So, like I said, when I came to the UK, one thing that I noticed, I could see these women pushing babies on the buggy. You have one on their back, you have the double buggy, you have little children on the side and everything. And I would ask my husband, come out, my late husband was very quiet, so he wouldn't talk much. And, I was asking a lot of questions. So I would ask my husband, why am I seeing so many women? I hardly see men. In my mind, I've forgotten that actually maybe, the men have gone to work, or,
To work.
some men have actually deserted. We don't know about those things because the
Right.
community we grew up in back home, I came from a
Never.
house where you have mother and father. Even when women were divorced or separated, they will come back home to their families. Our culture,
Wow.
you don't have, they don't go through the persecution as such. And other cultures are very strong in
Right.
that sense. So
Right.
I saw those things, but obviously because I was not in the position yet, I really did not know, and maybe I followed others to judge people because then all I could hear, oh, these women, they are on benefit, they are just having babies here and there, they
Yeah.
are pushing trolleys. And we just don't know that everybody's story was different.
Yeah.
So
Right.
fast forward, we had our children. I came here in 2001. We had our children. Now my children are teenagers, 15 and 17, by the grace of God.
All right.
So in 2007, my husband, all of a sudden, I remember I was in church practicing for choir, and my husband started feeling ill. That was the beginning of another side of life. Went to the hospital. In another 2 months' time, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
So we went through all of that stress, and he finally passed away in 2009. So that's when this thing started clicking in my mind. Said, wow, okay, so now I'm not only a widow. Now this thing that they are calling single parenting. So I have become one of them.
Wow.
I thought that my world was turned over left, right, and center everywhere. I could not even imagine that I would be sitting here right now. So I went through everything you can go through: stress and depression, looking after the kids on my own. Here it's not like Africa where you can have everybody come alongside of you.
Yeah. Yes.
I felt the rejected bit of it, and I started feeling the stigma side of it. And the thing with the stigma, it can be subtle. It's just some silly words that people might say, and they are not sensitive. Like, why don't you try and find a husband? As if it was easy to just go and pick one. You need somebody to be arranging you. Just as if that is all what it is about.
Wow.
It was a lot. When I'm having invitations, they don't want to know if you're single or what. They just put Mr. and Mrs. You go to places and people will look at you like, okay, it's me and my husband that are here. Be careful. They come in subtle ways, and you can actually feel it. So it takes grace to actually come out from that. So I say, wow. So even in my situation there as a widow, I found out that I was able to encourage. I never stopped serving. I was serving, still very active in my local assembly, and I will reach out to women. I was just functioning because I was used to functioning anyway.
And what church was that when you came in that you were serving? Was it still Assemblies of God or?
Oh no, I was first in my previous church, Harmony. Then my church where I am, I've been there for 10 years, NICC.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So my pastor, bless him, he was saying to me, he always used to say, Pastor Floris, you have a story. There is a lot in you that you can use to encourage other people out there to make sure that they are not on their own. Because some people, they've been pushed in that corner and they feel like, their world is turned upside down. Nothing else can change it. So I did not see, I was looking at myself, me, right? What, right? It did not sink in. Even though, I was doing all the other things. So it took me like 2 years to come to the realization of, okay, let me start writing. And single parent was not my topic. My first topic was on grief. But for some reason, I was struggling to write about grief. I said, okay, this is not the time yet. And one day I was at work, and the single parenting thing, the ideas just started coming. As I was writing, if I had a good class, I will be writing. Whilst my students are behaving, I will be writing. We are all in class, I will be writing. So that's how everything just came together. And that's how the book came about. I've just explained in the book my own experience. And the reason why not to judge others, because maybe somebody was raped, they ended up with a child. Somebody was divorced. Maybe they had a bitter experience. Some of the situations that we find ourselves in, nobody plans for it. Nobody, you have statement that, oh, you put yourself in this situation. Oh, you are wretched, you are this, you are that, but you don't know. Maybe somebody was separated. Somebody was divorced. Somebody, they lost their wives and their husband. Just because you see them, you don't know their story. So you don't start judging. If you have the opportunity to know their story, that would be good. But until then, just hold it a little bit.
Wow.
So that's what inspired me to write the book.
Wow. You know what? Actually, before I say what I'm going to say, my wife joined a few minutes ago, so my wife is watching as well. One of my
Bless
wonderful
you.
brothers
Bless
is
you, Sister
here.
Dupe.
Brian Zuma is here. Inspired Lane HQ. What's up, bro? And then somebody's made a statement here. Miriam Steve said, "You're such a strong woman. Humility is mind blowing." Well, listen,
Thank you,
welcome to
Sister
the
Mariam.
welcome to, and I've got Dr. Sochi giving us a thumbs up. Right now, confession time for me. I have to say that I was one of those who judged back then. When I was much younger, when I was, yeah, I was. I'm not gonna lie to you because I had just come from. I grew up in a Christian home. My dad is still a pastor. My dad is an apostle. My mom, who passed away earlier this year, my mom served God to the
To the
end.
end.
And as in, my dad said, before my mom passed, that it was in the night that she passed. They were lying on the bed. They had just finished praying and all that. And my mom uttered something in a language that my dad knew this was not tongue, this was not Yoruba, certainly not English. She uttered something, and my dad were like, "Are you all right?" And she didn't reply. That was a lie. So basically, I grew up in that kind of a home. All I'd ever seen, I don't think I never saw a single parent in all of my life in Nigeria growing up. I never did. If there were, I never saw them. Maybe I wasn't aware. So coming here and now seeing girls my age with babies in prams and all that, it was just a simple assumption and conclusion for me that no, these ones they're just sleeping around. They just because I when I came to the UK, I stayed with my sister at the time. It was in an area near Middlesex, like Wembley, Harleston, and all that. And I have to say, I hope it has changed now. But back then, there was a lot of young girls pushing prams.
Mhm.
So I have to say that I was one of those that judged. But having the understanding from your explanation and then some of the things you said, and even what others have said, and coming to know of situations that they could not help, that left them in a situation where they were even making the best of, they were trying their very best. Of course, it changed my perspective, it changed my understanding. And as much as it's not exactly God's plan for single parenting, there are a lot of single parents who have done and are doing amazing work, like yourself, raising children up, who now decided, like, listen, I will now focus on these children to make sure they get the best life can offer. So, on behalf of every other person who has judged single parents, I celebrate all single parents out there. We
Thank
apologize
you.
and we understand. We bless you in the name of the Lord. We do. Um,
Thank you.
right.
I just wanted to say, like we said, I know the dynamics are different. I think the way society, the way the culture is here, obviously
Yeah.
there are some things that happens that goes completely against maybe
The grain
morality
of what
and
we, yeah.
integrity. However,
Yeah.
if people have found themselves in that situation, that is not a death sentence. Obviously, you will hear, I've spoken to some single parents that have said to me, you know what, I messed
Mm.
up.
Wow.
They
Wow.
themselves can say they messed up.
They messed
Some
up.
of them can say, I failed my children. I do say today, you know what, you can start again. There can be a starting point. Go seek help. So the dynamics, like we said, the dynamics are
Yeah.
different. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
some people were actually just careless or not
Mm.
living right or whatever,
Yeah.
So everybody's situation is different,
Yes. Yes.
and I
That's right.
think
Yeah.
after going through all of those processes, some people actually come out better because they have learned. They say experience is a teacher.
Right.
Some people
Right.
actually turn the situation around, even though maybe at the beginning it was bad. They do turn it
Yes.
around for it to work for their good. Sadly,
Yeah.
that's not the case for everybody, because we have to be realistic. Sadly, that's not
Yeah.
the case, because there are different things that happen that lead people to be in this situation. Some
Yeah.
people, maybe
Yeah.
they've gone through childhood abuse. All they know is not to stay with a man. Some people must feel like they are loved all the time, and some
Yeah.
people have found
Yeah.
themselves in these situations because they were vulnerable.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know
Yes.
So there are a lot of factors,
Mm.
like, okay, mine was because I lost my husband. Like we say,
Yeah.
even those that go through divorce and separation, domestic violence,
Uh,
rape,
wow.
and all of those things,
Wow.
there are
Yeah.
factors
Yeah.
responsible for those, for those things. So it will be very unfair, for example, the press to just categorize,
Yeah.
communities to categorize everybody just like that. So it would be
Wow.
good if people start addressing some of those issues.
But I think one of the challenges there, a major challenge, is that um, really, and it's not being religious. The fact of the matter, fact of the matter, the truth is that the only source of solution, of real solution, of counseling that can help people to get back with life comes from the Word of God, because the Word of God deals with every issue, every aspect of life. And like a few pastors I've heard have said, even God Himself is a single parent. Yeah, and He lost His own son. Yeah, His son died. To the point that He, turned His back, and because He could not behold His sons carrying the sins of the world. So God understands what it is to be a single parent, although it's not necessarily the program He had, the way He wants humanity to work, because we're not born to be in isolation, to live isolated. And the foundation for a family, for children to grow, is well, marriage first of all, between a man and a woman, to now raise children in that kind of setting. But things happen. It's never the end. God still turns things around for His own glory.
Around.
So I want to now ask that this book. In fact, before I get to that one, can you tell us, how can people who may find themselves in this situation, how can they handle or deal with this stigmas that are put on them? Is it to just turn a blind eye, turn a deaf ear, and just act as if nothing is going on? How can they carry on?
Um, you know, uh, well, maybe I can explain, because these things, there is no definite answer to say, okay, this is the way. It's just
Right.
learning from other people's experiences, reading, see what other people have said, and
Yeah.
also, if possible, you seek counseling. And like I said,
Right.
like you just said, you spoke about the word of God. I
Yes.
know, we sing Sinach song. I know who God says I am, what He
Yes.
says I am, where He
Yes.
says, if you know your
Yes.
identity and what God has
Right.
called you to be, no
Right.
matter what people throw at you, no matter the things that you go through, and sometimes even when you yourself are confused about yourself, because
Mm.
that's where the thing is. If you believe what people say about you, or what people are saying, all the finger pointing and all of those things that people say, if you believe it, then that's it, that's a done deal. But if you don't, so number one, believe in yourself.
In
It does
yourself.
not matter, no matter the stage you are at, whether you are with small, you are with
Right.
medium, or you are with big. If you don't
Yes.
believe who you are and what you are, it is pointless.
Wow.
When you believe that, then you are able to turn a blind eye. Then you are able to close your ears, because we are just human beings. People will say things. And sometimes, even when people say these things, like I said, the stigma can
Yes.
be subtle. People
Right.
don't mean it sometimes in a bad way. It's just that people are insensitive, and
Right.
sometimes people
Yeah.
are just ignorant. So
That
you
happened
cannot be
before.
reacting or be emotional. There is a bit for being emotional, but
Right.
at some point, you yourself have to get yourself out of
Mm.
that. You say, no, what? Let me just, like they say in my language, let me just tie my lapper well. It means
Yeah.
guard yourself, brace
That
yourself,
is
and
that. Yeah.
just stand up.
Wow.
I have to look past all of that, because when I thought about my children, I'm like, I have to live for those children. I can't focus on myself only. Definitely, I needed to be well,
Yes.
mind, body, and soul, to be able to
Yes.
look after my children. But
Yes.
to get past all of those other limitations, the disadvantages, it was
Mm.
a lot. So
Wow.
it really took grace, and it took the word of God. I don't know for others. That's why I do say, same thing we are talking about. I don't know how others are coping, but for me, or if not for God,
Mm.
Grace. That's why I took the name. I don't know
Grace.
how I would have done it.
Pastor Grace. Wow. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm sure um, if no one single parent is watching right now, for those who watch it later, because I get people who come to watch the recordings of this fact of the matter, they come to watch it later and they speak of how encouraged and blessed they are. I'm sure somebody will receive something from this, or somebody will take something from this that they can share with maybe a single parent that they know. Now, um, how are you able? Okay, let me put it this way. Yeah, so being a single mother, a pastor, you have your professional work, what you do, and you balance all these things. Um, how are you able to balance it? Because looking after raising teenagers, especially alone, is a lifetime commitment. I mean, I think people should go to heaven just for raising teenagers, but hey, how are you able to balance all this and still, commit yourself? And in the middle of that, write a book. Lord have mercy. I mean, okay, I'm all ears. I've got teenagers in the house. Please let us know.
Uh, I don't know. Sometimes, the Bible says when he talks about the captivity of Zion, it says
Yeah.
we will be like those that dreamt. I think every day, as the days go on, you wonder how you went through
Mm,
the day before.
there
It's
before,
been
right,
challenging. I'm not going to sit here and like we have to be transparent. We have to be
right.
realistic.
Yes,
There have
yes,
been challenges, but one thing I want to thank God for with regards to raising up my children, and it's very important. If let me just lay this out there again. In fact, even for married couples, because even as couples, people have their
yeah,
challenges with raising their
yeah,
children, let alone a mother or a father doing the double role in the lives of their
yeah,
children. Some days are challenging, some days are good, some days are just as you don't want them to come around. Well, it
right.
takes grace, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes wisdom. And I thank
Wow.
God I have a very good support structure. I don't know for others, but I believe because there is a saying that it is a community that
Yeah, there is.
raises up children. If
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't do it on your own, don't be
right,
prideful. You are
right.
suffering. No, nobody should come in your life, especially, and this goes for men because we have a lot of single parent fathers that are struggling because men don't normally talk, and we live in a society that
Mm,
generally focuses on women,
and
everything
women.
woman and child.
Wow.
So please don't suffer on your own. You can have one or two quality people in your life that can
Right.
give you support. If you need time out, when I need time out, I know where I can drop my children. If I have to
Right.
go, you know me by Wole, if I have to attend my worship events,
Correct.
I've never allowed those things to stop me.
Right. Right.
And I do spend time with my children. Now they're growing up, they want to hang out with friends and stuff, but I invested a lot of time in them since they were babies. So I
Wow.
really did not regret those years. And I served actively in ministry all those 17 years
Wow.
since I have my children by the grace of God. So I think that also
Wow.
helped me.
Yeah.
How I balance, sometimes I take them with me. I take them with me. If I'm doing
Mm.
a program, my son is there with me on the camera, or sometimes it is my daughter.
Okay.
I bring them along for them to understand that,
Right.
you know, there is life. And
Right.
just for them not to feel like because they don't have a father figure in their life,
Yeah. Yeah.
that means that's the end of it. I
Yeah.
give them a
Really.
lot of examples. I show them examples. I take them to other families that
Right.
have
Okay.
lost, fathers. In our own situation, families that have
Right.
actually lost their fathers in the house and stuff. So
Wow.
very good support structure I have right from their schools. Their
Yes.
teachers know me. I don't miss any meeting. In
Wow.
fact, if I don't hear from their teachers, I phone myself because I work with young people. So I cannot be
Oh,
looking after
wow.
other people's children and I
And
ignore
yes.
mine. No way.
Yours. Yes.
So from the schools, they know me how active I am.
Oh, wow.
In their social life, if they are doing activities, I try to juggle in between. Sometimes I will have my son complain, "Oh, you didn't come to my football, but you went to Doris's stuff," and I try to encourage them that, I can only divide myself so much. So
Yes.
I let them understand what it takes to serve in ministry.
So, yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
it's not an easy thing, but
Mm,
if God has called you, you know, so it's all by grace and the wisdom to balance, I will say. And
yes.
obviously the people that I have around me, in for example in
Right.
ministry, they understand. My father in the Lord understands that when I need time off, if I have to go for a holiday
A
or a
few days.
break,
Okay.
you know,
Yes.
he gives it to me because he knows that when I'm
Wow.
around, nobody
So you're
tells
full
me
on.
what to
Yeah.
do. I do what I know I'm supposed to do,
To do. Right.
you know.
Right.
So, and I have a
Wow.
good team. Even if I'm not there, they too they get and we all support one another. So it's just been the grace of God and
Mm,
also discipline, because I remember when I was writing the book,
okay.
I had to cut down. I had to cut down even from ministry because you have to
Okay.
prioritize. Sometimes you are not able to do everything in one go. So if you need time out to be able to achieve something, don't feel guilty.
In fact,
Like,
how long did it take you to complete writing the book?
okay, I started writing the book in late 2018.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
about well,
Because Pastor always
under
used to
two
ask me,
years.
why did it take you so long?
2018. But you
Yeah.
launched it in last
No,
year,
actually, late 2017, around December
17. Yeah.
2017, yes.
But then you
But
launched it. Was it last year you launched it or the year before?
last
So
year, 2019,
that
yes.
was that was okay. I mean, hey, I've not written the book yet, but from what I hear of some people, that that wasn't too far out. I thought you were gonna say like you've been writing it 5 or 17 years ago, something like that.
Uh,
But just to
yeah.
touch on a couple of things that you said, because I want to just further emphasize what you said, that single parents like this need a strong support network around them because of a matter of fact, they are not able to do it by themselves. Those of us who are joint parent, both parents there, we still come to the point where we say, you know what? I don't want to see these children for the next 2 hours. Um, what will a single parent do? So you said they'll need a strong support network, people that they trust, people that they love, that love them enough to be able to maybe take these children off of them and say, you know what, take some time to recover, to regather, to recoup your energy and refocus, and that be probably be able to take um, in a how can I put it? To help even somewhat raise these children up, a surrogate position to counsel them. And I'm really impressed, to be honest with you, by what you say you did, where you took them to other families who have a single parents themselves, to first of all for them to realize that they are not the only ones on the planet who have a single parent. Number two, other families are doing well, or they're doing their best to carry on, so it's not the end of the world. And it's also a challenge that, if it's like my pastor would say, if it's going to be, it's up to you. You can't do for what you cannot do anything about. You can't. But for what you can do something about, and that you must do something about, then you must do something about it and make that the focus. Um, that is. And thirdly, I can understand why that your nickname, which is soon coming to your passport, Grace, has been
Grace.
given to you. Only
Oh,
by
Lord.
grace have you been able to do this.
It's
Only
only
by
by
grace.
grace.
Wow.
Only by
Praise God.
grace. You
Wow,
know,
wow.
like you rightly said, man of God, you know, there is that bit when you feel like no matter what you've done. And I think
Yeah.
this goes especially for women, because the dynamics
Okay.
is different with men if mothers are not at home. But with
Right.
women, it's like no
Yeah.
matter what you've done, once in a while the enemy comes and sow that seed in
Mm.
your head, like, if only the father was there. Because sometimes I will
Was
question God, no matter how long it's taken me 11 years since,
wow.
my husband has gone to be with the Lord. And every now and then I will like, even though we know
Wow.
what's supposed to be will be, I will go
Mm.
back, Lord, why did you have to let this happen? Just
Uh,
like you said, it's not God's
right.
ordained plan for somebody to
Yes.
remain like that. But when
Right.
the inevitable happens, it's like you
Yeah.
still have to live.
Yeah.
You have to live through that event. You know, I
Wow.
see them growing up. I'm like, you know, Lord, thank you. You've done well. You've done me good. But
Wow.
I wish he
Wow.
was alive to see them, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
growing up. But, you know, to God be the glory.
Amen.
To
Amen.
God be the
Okay, well,
glory.
I'm gonna ask a funny question now. Um, well, not funny in terms of make you laugh, but I think you know what I'm about to ask because
Ask.
I did prompt you. Right. Raising children by yourself, balancing that with ministry, being a pastor, being an author, you work with young ones, youth, and all that, uh, and many other things that you do. Some men will find that really attractive, like that. Now, that is a woman who handles things, right? So maybe not directly you, but some men would want to go beyond just admiring from afar. I want to approach women and like, listen, I see the grace of God on your lives. um, if not you, what advice would you give maybe a single mother, especially, or even a single father as well, who find themselves in approached by, you know, a man or woman, and they are not sure which way to go because now their life is really centered around their children and they've shifted their focus. How would you counsel them? What would you say for them to do?
Um, yes, I'm just going to be honest and transparent. I think
Okay.
when I lost my husband first, to be honest, it was a no-go area for me. It wasn't because I was thinking everything, and it's been 11 years. Now I am much better. I can
Right.
actually talk to people. I'm very
Yeah.
friendly. I'm
Right.
outgoing, and I'm very social in that
Well,
sense.
I
Just
can
that I
testify
don't
to
cross
that.
my barrier.
I can testify to
It's
that.
just that I don't cross my
Yeah.
barriers. I think I'm still a little bit overprotective because sometimes you don't want to give a leeway
Right.
to people, and this is especially for us women because women are most vulnerable. And
Right.
I believe if you're trusting God for somebody, this is now for the women. If you're trusting God for somebody, just keep doing what you're doing and have an open mind. Don't just
Okay.
block everybody that comes.
Everybody else.
Obviously, you have to be careful because you have you have wolves in sheep's clothing. So we have to be
Right.
very, very careful. We have to use
Right.
wisdom. And but I believe whoever God has orchestrated for you,
Yeah.
you will come, you know, you will come in contact with that
And
person. Now
contact
for
with
the
them.
men,
Right.
I have seen where women have got it wrong, but I've seen where men have got it wrong just because they say, I can't see I can't see even for 5 months, for 6 months, you know, I must have my other thing, you know what I mean? You know,
I hear
and
you.
you know, human being is human being.
Yes.
Scripturally, biblically, if you, especially for those that have you know, like I said, now the dynamics are different. Some people have come from divorce. It is bitter. It can be fresh for years, so they don't even want to go on that side. So I'm talking now from the perspective of losing. Biblically, if you've lost, you are entitled. But I
Right.
would say don't rush.
Right.
Take your time. It is God that puts the puzzles back together. So
Right.
like, let me answer your question now for myself. I've had a lot of those things, you
I
know,
bet.
and sometimes I'm hopeful to say, okay, let me just observe, maybe something will come
Okay.
out of this. And it does
Okay.
not tend to be so. So what I do, I don't get frustrated. I always believe that
Right.
when God's time comes, it will
Yes.
happen. I haven't sat down for 11 years and I'm enjoying everything that I'm doing. I still believe the place of a man in the home because
Okay.
that's how I was
Yeah.
raised up. And biblically,
Right.
that's God's desire. So no matter what I've done, even the lives of my children, I always say to them, the Lord will bless you with somebody that will
Mm.
still like you, somebody that will love you,
Right.
and you will still look up to
Mm.
that person as a father
Mm.
figure. Even though you have uncles, you know, you have other
Yeah.
people around you right now that
Right.
represent a father figure. So I believe the place of a
Mm.
man in the home.
In the
I
home.
really do stand for that. No matter where God takes me to as a woman, I still
Yeah.
believe that when the Lord blessed me with that, with the right man, that we can work
Right.
together and
Right.
just partner together in everything, I think it takes a whole lot of weight. So the Lord knows
Right.
that one is good, isn't it? But he said two is still better than one. So God is not against
Yeah.
one, but two, even now,
Yes.
he emphasizes the bonus. So
Right.
don't worry,
Wow.
we'll celebrate when the time
That's that.
comes.
I've got front row invitation, so there you are. I'm sitting right in front.
Sure.
Well, you know what? We've been having comments from so many people. My wife went, um, Pastor Kofo said, well done, sis. My wife went absolutely, I forgot what she was saying absolutely about. Even my brother-in-law joined. I hope he's still there. Sister Shola has been singing your praise all over the place. Pastor Kofo says, Pastor Grace, yes, you are an inspiration. God bless you.
Thank you.
Sister Shola say, you're sweet, you're humble, you're focused. What else? If I'm very jealous now, Sister Shola doesn't praise me like this. She said, you're sweet, you're humble, you're focused, you're caring, you're giving, yet you're a strong woman. And then she says again, that's who you are. You are a champion. You are called by grace. You are grace, Pastor Grace.
Amen. Amen.
Right? Okay.
Amen.
We got about 3 minutes, and it's just funny how time flies when we are having great
So,
discussions. So now, let me see how over the last few months with the lockdown due to COVID and everything else, how have you managed to balance life and ministry? You know, with the lockdown, did everything just stop for you, or what were you doing? How did you manage to carry on with ministry?
um, wow. Yeah. Um, I don't even know where to start. I thank God for grace
You know what,
because
Pastor Grace, 1 minute. I want us to, because I don't want us to run out of time. If people want to get a copy of your book, where can they go?
okay, it's on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version, the electronic version, on also the
Okay.
paperback. It's on Amazon, Amazon UK, Amazon USA, Amazon Canada. Also, I
Okay.
live here in London, UK. So if you want, you can contact me. My number is
Okay.
there on my Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook, and I can
Right.
actually get you a signed copy, obviously after you have paid for the book.
Like I've got my signed copy right there. Okay. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure we get that in. 2 minutes to go. So, right, have you
Yeah, so
balanced ministry with the lockdown and everything?
ministry and lockdown, I thank God. I think we've come up with new things that we
Okay.
never thought will work for us as a
Right.
ministry.
Okay.
um COVID, you know, I've been there just to pray and lift up people. We have
Wow.
been praying for the nations together as a church. I
Yes.
support my pastor alongside of that. And basically, I've just been following people. And for me personally, I've really enjoyed God. I spend a lot of my
That's good.
time building myself in the
Right.
presence
Right.
of God. It's like I'm
Right.
not rushing to work and all of those things because I work in a
Yes.
school. So we're on
Okay.
holiday. So I
Right.
personally, I have grown because we have
Wow.
to grow first to be able to give
To give.
unto others. So
That's right.
that's what I've been doing, just following up on, in house
Right.
and outside of house. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
we thank
Wow.
God for everything. We thank
Yes.
God. A lot of good things have happened, even though we are living in this
Yes.
COVID season, and it
Yes.
just shows that God is still in the business of doing great things. I've seen a
Yes.
lot of testimonies myself.
In fact, I think if we were to talk about the good things that have happened since COVID, since the lockdown, that would require a show in itself, a different show in itself, because
Oh yes,
right here, right
yes,
now, this conversation we're having happened. It's come about as a result of the lockdown. That the idea that just planted in me, and I started
you
work
see.
by faith. Here it is now. I think this is our ninth edition, and it's waxing stronger and stronger.
Wow.
It's
Amen.
been great. Now, Pastor Grace, I'm going to start calling you Pastor Grace now. That's that. I want to say a
Well,
big thank you for coming on today. It's been a great honor. You have I think I'm further humbled. If I thought I was humbled, I told before, but now further humbled, and I've learned a lot from the things you've said. And no doubt, with all the comments that have been pouring in, a lot of people have learned something else. We now see things in a different perspective. We got 26 seconds left. So I want to thank you once again. And I pray that God who has kept you will keep on keeping you. He will bring you into his good
Amen.
purpose, and he will be, as he already is, a father to the fatherless, a defender of the widow,
Amen.
continue to defend you and look after you.
Amen.
Thank you so much for being on
Amen.
Fact of the Matter. I hope we can bring you again sometime soon. Yeah?